Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 14 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. I know it's been a little while since I last posted an episode, but I am back, and hopefully we'll have more episodes in the days to come. So I'm coming into today, rated 11:19, and I have about half hour before I have dinner plans. So we'll see how many people I can get through in about 30 minutes. Let's hop into the first game. Okay, first opponent, playing Hussein CT. And I want to play something active and aggressive. We have the bishop's opening. I'm going to play c6, which really just aims to play pawn d5. And yeah, let's go ahead and play pawn d5. This might turn into a gambit after take, take, and check. And this pawn might be falling, but actually bishop d7. Yeah, white has no time to take the pawn and actually just gives me a bishop. So that was very generous. Let's keep developing. Bishop d6. Get ready to castle. Yeah, it's hard to be tricky or trappy when the opponent just gives away free material early on. I'm going to play bishop d7. Keeping the square open for the knight. And white is threatening to take. So we'll put the bishop on e6. Still want a complete development. Yeah, very solid position. Up a bishop for a pawn. Going forward, I do want to be aggressive, probably h6 and maybe eventually bishop g4. The queen is a little bit overworked here. I'm going to save the bishop. I think this bishop will be a very useful attacking piece, hopefully, in a few moves, if I can start organizing a kingside attack. Yeah, h6 or bishop g4 is probably on the horizon. I like bishop g4 here. Pinning this knight, threatening to take on d4. Another potential idea is to play queen d6 and go for mate. Yeah, let's set this up. This is not only a tricky move, but it's also just an improving move. I'm unpinning the knight. And of course setting up probably the threat of taking on d4. This knight is now overworked. And this is going to be another free piece. It's possible my opponent forgot about my bishop on b8. So now I'm up 2 bishops for a pawn. Trade down a bit. Yeah, given that queens are off the board, it might take a bit of patience to win this position. I'll simplify a bit. Rook b1, I can take on a3. I do lose b7, I'll win h3. Things are coming off the board pretty quickly. What to do? Put the bishop back to a useful place. It is important to note I have an outside pass pawn, so one idea is to just push the pawn. Save the bishop first. Yeah, I'm trying not to return any gifts of free material. Attacking the knight, bishop a5 comes next. Winning more material. Okay, opponent resigns. Felt like a pretty clean game. It's a nice opening to get the center early on. And yeah, for a brief moment, I thought I might be losing the pawn, but that's not the case. Of course, white should take here and play this position, not losing material. But okay, solid game. Let's keep it going. Next opponent, I'll play e4. And let's play a Smith-Morra Gambit. Pawn d4. And if it takes, I'll play pawn c3. And black is not accepting the Gambit, so I'm happy to just recapture, control the center. Might have a similar theme to last game of just having the early center, develop the pieces to support the pawns. I'm really just looking to develop as quickly as possible, probably castle next move, and then decide what to do with these pieces. Yeah, black's playing a little bit slow to develop on the king side. So let's be somewhat confrontational. Play a4, targeting the pawn. Now queen b3 looks nice. It's improving, making a threat. Maybe I could have started with a5. But now I have the b5 square to work with. Not sure if I want to use it right away. Yeah, let's just keep developing. Bishop f4. Probably knight d2 next. Yeah, usually situations like this where you have the lead in development and the opponent is still pretty far away from castling. I do want to look for ways to start generating threats. Ideally prevent black from castling. e5 comes to mind. e5 does allow knight d5. Knight c4 also comes to mind. Let's go for knight c4. I'm simply targeting the d6 pawn. And this might lead to a trade, like if black decides to take, black defends d6. So let's align the rook with the queen. And now, yeah, this is going to get pretty bad for black. I can take here, winning the queen, attacking this. It's important that my bishop supports the knight. If queen takes d6, I'll probably take the rook on c8 first, and then take, and then fork in the end. So black should probably take with the bishop. But this is also looking very good. Though I don't think I'm winning anything more. We could trade. Looking for alternatives. Let's just trade. Simple enough. Now I could push. Oh, there's a kind of funny idea. Yeah, I'm going to push. Allowing knight d5. My idea is to set up a Greek gift. Like go back to d1. Castling looks very natural. And then take, and then knight g5. It's probably unnecessary, but it does look fun. My queen wasn't doing much on b3 anyway. Yeah, this might not be the best approach. There's king h6, and I don't have a dark squared bishop. But the queen and knight look like a promising combination to attack. Yeah, queen g4 here. There's f4 as well. There's also h4. Yeah, queen g4 is the first move that comes to mind, but then f5. I'm going to go for f4. There's ideas of queen d3 and then swinging over to g3 or h3. So actually, if we count material here, black is technically up material. That move I missed, but I have queen d3. And I should be winning back. the very least the knight. Like knight f5, there's g4. But there's also knight f5, queen h3. Very close to mating on h7. Also, if the king moves, then my queen will come into h7. Yeah, not too many options here for black. Let's calculate knight f5, queen h3. But then black has knight h6. Oh, black just resigns. It felt like black could have fought there a little bit longer. Engine loves white's position. Yeah, knight f5. Actually, if queen h3, I guess we could repeat. Like, I go back to d3 and... yeah, basically the engine does want g4. And then just win the knight and enjoy life. If we go back, was this actually sound? Queen d1. Bishop takes h7 is not the best move, but white's still much better here. Having all the fun with attacking. If king g8, I would play queen h5. Oh, but then knight f6. Black can give back the piece and maybe fight. So the engine prefers queen d3. Knight f6, take. Somehow this is a little bit preferable for white over the other line. Anyway, yeah, pleasant opening. Opponent kind of was slow to develop and then really walked into trouble along the c-file. So this brings me to 1139. Let's keep it going. Playing Kindia. Gonna stick with my aggressive black repertoire against e4. Maybe we'll have a Stafford Gambit. Will white accept? Okay, so we do have a Stafford. Yeah, at this level, it's so easy for white to just stumble into some kind of trap. This is one of the most common traps that white will stumble into, with allowing knight g4 early. And here there's not a great way to defend f2. White pretty much has to play bishop e3. Probably should have played bishop e3 the previous move. And going forward, I'll take with knight. And probably just take on c3. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And then queen h4 is coming next. I'll take on e4. And the initiative will continue. King d2. So if g3 I would have taken and hit the rook. I think with this, I could still take the pawn, but bishop g4 looks attractive. Preparing to castle queenside with check. And this is going to be winning the queen. It's a skewer, and the bishop is actually pinned to the queen. So bishop d3, take with the bishop. White resigns. Nice quick game. Nice clean Stafford Gambit win. I'm pretty sure Hikaru actually stumbled into this position once against a player rated around 1200. Hikaru wiggled his way out of it. But yeah, white should probably just play bishop e3 here and be a bit worse after black wins back the pawn. So that brings me to 1149. We will keep it going. Black again, playing Jose. Are we going to get a game here? We might not. I could click the abort button, but it shows my opponent online. Yeah, I think I'll just abort. I have dinner plans soon, so I don't want to burn too much time. Let's start a new game. Okay, black again. Stafford Gambit Part 2. Let's see. Will my opponent accept again? It feels like deja vu. Okay, so we have the same, but slightly different line. Pawn e5 is a very valid move. And the objective best move here is knight d5, but the trickiest move is knight e4. And there's a really nice trap. If white plays d3, then bishop c5 is just winning for black. Very nice tactics which happen. White plays bishop c4, okay. So this is interesting. I mean, knight takes f2 comes to mind. The idea that after takes there's queen d4. But knight takes f2, there's queen f3 hitting this, and the knight's still hanging. So I think this is actually a bit more justified. Queen d4 first. Attacking the bishop, more importantly threatening mate. Also attacking the pawn. And if white tries to defend the pawn and the bishop, then the queen is overworked. And now I'm pretty sure this is playable. Well, it's still tricky. Knight takes f2, there's some like rook f1 or even c3. I have to be careful. Actually, rook f1, I have bishop g4. Let's go for this. White could take on f7 and probably be totally fine. Maybe be for choice. So I'm taking some risk. Wow, castling. That was unexpected. That is legal though. You can castle even if your rook's attacked. And I don't have the famous like smothered mate. Huh. So what to do? Yeah, because knight h3, queen g1, there's rook g1, and the queen defends f2. F7 is still a liability. I mean, I have knight d3 check to then pick up the bishop. Not the best option. Also considering bishop g4. There is, actually no, knight h3, king h1, bishop g4, I walk into this. But then king d8? I don't think that's good for me. Yeah, so I think I should play this and then take. Huh. Okay, knight d3. There may have been other options there. I think this is actually the safest option, just to win back the piece. I still might be down a pawn, but it's very likely white will end up with double d pawns. And it is nice having the half-open d file. So it's really a question for white. Do they want to trade queens? Do they want to take with pawn and keep queens on the board? So we see cd3. And now I probably don't want to trade queens. I'll play queen h4 and try and develop as quickly as I can. Another nice thing about white having double pawns for me is that it does hamper the development. It's not easy for the bishop to get into the game. Even fianchettoing doesn't do much with a pawn in e5. And this is a nice multi-purpose move. Preparing castling, defending f7, maybe eventually preparing this. And given that it's now opposite side castling, the plan is to attack. So I'm looking for the attacking resources. I mean, g5, g4 is one idea. And there's also bishop c5. I think I'll start with bishop c5. envisioning the bishop eventually going to d4. It's also nice taking away the square from the king. There might be some not so distant future where, like if queen g3 is played and we trade queens, I might have some mating idea on the h file, like h5, h4. Okay, with this, I really want the bishop to skewer, but I have to be controlled. Start with queen h6. And queen h3 was also possible. But I do like the queen on h6. Eyeing the d2 pawn. Okay, rook d4 comes to mind. There's also bishop d4. To threaten to take and then skewer. Yeah, actually bishop d4 is probably a bit trickier. Maybe just better too, eyeing the pawn as well. I'm just realizing if I take and then take, my queen is attacked. Oh, but now that's not the case. Yeah, the bishop, unfortunately for white, cannot generate counterplay. There goes white's queen. Maybe white will try and fight. Okay, I'll take with rook. Yeah, white is fighting. Take on d3, threatening this pawn. I'm considering this. Yeah, feels very close to mate. Let's do it. I do allow e6. I was thinking queen h5. And this threatens some mate along the diagonal. Also maintaining the pin. Rook e5 would be an attempt to stop queen d5, but that allows queen d1. So does white have a move here to just not get mated? Yeah, bishop g7 also looks attractive at first, but yeah, it doesn't help defend. So there are two legal moves. That was an interesting game. Very weird way the opening unfolded, especially white castling kingside. I will want to analyze a little bit. Okay, white is realizing their doom. Mate next move. Okay, real quick. I do have to go soon, but I think I'll have time for one more game. Let's just check this. So bishop c4, queen d4 is one of the best moves. And knight takes f2 is actually not great according to the engine because of c3. Yeah, I did take some risk here. The point of c3 is my queen is kind of tied down to defending the knight. If I play queen c5, there's d4. So queen f4 would be best, but then... Oh, the d-pawn can't move, but then white can castle. Wow. So I was supposed to play b5. Yeah, very tricky. But what happened in the game after castling? Yeah, this is better for black. Material is equal, but black has the 2 bishops and white has the weak center pawns. Okay. Do one more final game for this episode. Can we have a 3rd Stafford Gambit in a row? Playing X-King Ash. Stafford Gambit Part 3. Okay, so far my opponent is playing exactly what I encountered in the World Blitz Championship. Are we going to see H3? Ooh. A3 is a little bit random. I think with this, I'm happy to play Queen D4. I should note D3 was the best move there instead of A3. But now with Queen D4, I'm threatening mate. White has 2 options, either Rook F1 or castling. And now I'll keep the initiative, attacking F2 3 times. And I did have a very, very similar line in the World Blitz Championship back in December. But this is slightly different because there's a pawn on A3 rather than a pawn on H3. My threat is probably Queen D6 attack, and then if G3 I can slide over to H6. It's definitely not an easy position for white to defend. King H1. That's interesting. Queen D6, G3, Queen H6. Let's say H4 en passant. Probably the best approach. E5 is an attempt. E5, Queen takes E5, Rook E1 would be slightly tragic for black. But if E5, I'll play Queen H6. There's also F4. But F4 doesn't really help because en passant and I'm still threatening mate. White plays F4, briefly considering this. Takes, check, King G3. I don't think leads to enough. So I'll take en passant. And this is looking very, very bad for white. There's some fun lines like if G3, then I can sack the rook, which is actually just mate in 2. King takes H2 and Queen H6 checkmate. H3 might be the best try. But okay, H3 I take. It's still some king hunt. No mercy. Oh no, my rook. But checkmate. Okay. So Stafford Gambit proved to be very successful today. Yeah, nice finish. 13 move win. Was white okay after A3? Yeah, the engine says this is only slightly better for black. But white should have played G3 here and hunker down a bit. Anyway, I do have to go. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the chess today. As usual, if you have questions, leave them below. If you like the content, do subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.